So here we are, August 21st. Just wanted to give you all an update. What we got going on. It's not a whole lot. Here we got 4 goji berry plants. And we bought these from Hello Organics off of Amazon.com. When they came, they were a little bit yellowed. They dropped a few leaves. What we did immediately was transplant them into some larger pots. You can see they're starting to do really well. Be setting them out in the ground here shortly. We're going to come around here, and later today we've got to separate these beefsteak tomatoes, get them into individual pots. I don't know what to do with these here 2 red ripper peas. I'd planned it out, about 12 of them, only 2 came up. Now I'll stick them somewhere. And we've got a little cantaloupe growing over here. This is a volunteer. Apparently I dropped another seed, so I left it growing. And then this first tomato plant, this is a celebrity. No, it's a Goliath. Here again, I made a mistake. It's a Goliath. And it's got a couple of tomatoes on it. But one thing about this plant, as you can see right now, it's in the shade, primarily. That's an important thing to understand when you're setting out your plants. Yeah, tomatoes do like full sun. 6+ hours. But let's just say you just don't have a place to put them. Well, they will grow, albeit they will not produce as much in the shade. It's something to bear in mind in case you're faced with no other alternative. Now coming up here, we have a honey rock cantaloupe. This again was a plant that came up from seed I dropped in the yard, so transplanted it here along the east side of the house. And I made a little planter for it. And then here last week I stuck in a few black seed Simpson seeds. Give me a little lettuce this fall. I'll be planting out more lettuce in the fall garden. This is all I got right now. Then right here we have a dark green zucchini, as well as another one. Got a third one up here that another honey rock cantaloupe plant's trying to surround. These were planted out last week in preparation for the fall. Now this particular plant, this tomato plant, and this is a celebrity. And you can see it's got quite a few tomatoes on up in there. Plant's looking healthy. It's up around 4 feet now. And that might not seem far for August 24th or 21st in the deep south. But this didn't go in until the first week of June. I was extremely late on getting anything planted because I've been sort of thinking off and on whether I'd retire or not, and when I made the decision midway through May. This next tomato plant is Cherokee Purple. Now it's starting to approach 6 feet. It's got quite a few tomatoes on in there. Some of them are starting to get quite large, as y'all can see. And I imagine now it's probably got about 10 or 12. Now the thing with tomatoes is, I've been told, or I've watched on YouTube, many different channels say tomatoes won't set fruit once temperatures reach 90 and above. Well, my tomatoes must not know that. where it's been 90s and above since the end of May. And as you can see by the size of these and that, now they had to set fruit during those temperatures. Otherwise I wouldn't have any. Now I will say this. They will tend to not set as much fruit, especially if the nighttime temperatures are not low enough. That's one thing I learned about 30, 40 years ago as far as setting fruit and fruit ripening. And you may watch this yourself in your own places. You know, you go out checking that afternoon, you don't have anything ripe, come back next morning, wow, look at there. You know, you have ripe tomatoes and other things. I learned a long time ago that a lot of the ripening process and fruit setting process after pollination happens at night when the temperatures are a lot less than what they were during the daytime. That's just my observations. Now I do have about 5 plants of corn here, and I know it don't look like much, wasn't meant to. I stuck them in from some corn seed that came out of squirrel feed that I feed my squirrels. Now, like I said, this is a honey rock cantaloupe spreading out there. It's looking fine. There's something here I heard on another gardening channel was they didn't believe in companion planting. They don't think one plant complements another. Well, I will agree that maybe basil doesn't make tomatoes taste different. But what I do is just like here. My whole intent here was the cantaloupes would shade the ground for my tomatoes. And you can see they're heading on over that way. Here again, they were planted way late. Now what I've got here is a Goliath tomato, and I've got to tie this bad boy up today. Now it's 6 feet, maybe taller once I get it tied up. Now this tomato did struggle setting any fruit, and it did not set a single fruit while we were in the 90s. But once temperatures started backing off a little bit more, it has started to set, and there's several tomatoes on up in there. If you take a look. Here we got just a couple of old Henderson limas. I had a couple spare seeds in my pocket, so I threw them down. Stomped them in, lo and behold, they came up. These are burpeless beauty cucumbers, and they're about 10 feet. Of course, they would have climbed a whole lot higher had I continued to put some string across those old canes for them to climb. They're now starting to trail off to the ground, so the vines are probably reaching 14, 15 feet in length. And as you can see, they're full of blossoms. I've already picked a couple cucumbers off them. These were planted towards the end of June. And that, so they were extremely late for, you know, spring summer crop. But they look nice. And there are a lot of cucumbers up in here. Let's see if we can find some. Oh yeah, there we go. There's one. Nice one hiding in there. Another one hiding in there. Now, I picked 2 of these last night before I came in. They were nearly 12 inches long, weren't all that big around. Beautiful cucumbers. Ooh, look at that baby. And there's about 12 inches long. When I picked that day, I've got cucumbers in the fridge. I just quartered up a bunch to make some pickled cucumbers and onions, so I could eat them as a cool, fresh side dish with lunch. And then maybe you can see it there, my little bumblebee buddies. They're making sure everything's pollinated. And that, if it wasn't for them, I'd be doing a whole lot of hand pollinating, because I haven't seen the first honeybee this year. That's another shot from the other side of that Goliath tomato. And what we got here is hot banana pepper, the only pepper I put in this year. Down in here, it's got a couple peppers. If you take a look at these leaves, and it's hard to see now, this pepper fought for its life in its early stages. Slugs just love this plant, so if you're wanting a slug magnet, plant banana pepper. They just love them. I'd pick dozens off this thing at night with a headlamp. And I guess I finally got them all, because they've been leaving it alone. I still come out at night, check everything with my headlamp. I'd suggest you do too in your gardens before you go to bed at night. You'd be surprised how many insects and pests come out at night to feed on your plants. It's something I've done ever since my commercial truck farming days. And this is another honey rock cantaloupe spreading out here. And we got another one here. And they've got, starting to get several young cantaloupe on them. Not sure if we can find one. But they are back up in there, and they're looking fine too. There's something I'll say about my cantaloupes. I haven't had a problem with powdery mildew, squash bug, or anything on them. Now initially, on these Burpless Beauty, I did have a little bit of early powdery mildew, and you can see that by discoloration on the leaves. That's the aftermath. But what I did was, I used 12 tablespoons of hydrogen peroxide per gallon of water, and I sprayed them. This kills the powdery mildew. Then I came back with Daconil as a preventative spray. You can see now, even in the extreme heat, humidity of the deep south, they're looking fine. Go out and look at what yours look like. If they don't look this good, you might want to change the way you're doing things. It's just my thought. So we're going to head on over here. That's crepe myrtle tree. Let me show you this before I pass it by. Because I did a video on setting up just old cheap bamboo cane trellis. You know, use what you got instead of buying something. For my rattlesnake pole beans. Well, these are them, if you watch my video on it. And these two have had many challenges this season. Of course, they're well above 10 feet now, starting to trend down. Here's one of the tops of the vines. It's already down about chest high, so that's about 16 feet long. And you can see there's some yellowing on the leaves, there's holes. Some of the leaves are cut. Well, the reason I plant rattlesnake pole beans, first, I've been planting these ever since having first garden. My daddy planted them, my granddaddy, my great-grandfather up in Pennsylvania. and they passed the seed down. But they knew, as I knew, this was a constant standby provider of green beans. Why? Because for some reason, viruses can come, kill off the leaves. Leaves will grow back, just like this. It got some type of, what I think was bean mosaic virus, because the leaves started cupping. And you can see them here. But it got over that. And then the bugs came, started eating holes in them. Well, the bugs have come and gone. And every place a leaf dies, I trim it off. And just all the way down here, as you can see, new leaves form. That is the #1 trait I love of this bean. It does not give up. Look at that. It just don't. It's a heavy producer. Even here where the leaf cutter wasp, cutting off pieces of leaves to make their winter nest. It's surviving. It's got more beans coming, more blossoms. These are looking nice. Yeah, they're got a little wear on them. But here again, look at that new growth. Go out in your garden this time of year. Take a look at yours. They don't look at least this good. You might want to consider rattlesnake pole beans next year as your go-to bean variety. And I've got some squash growing here. I mean, not squash, okra. God, I don't know what I'm thinking today. And it's struggled. This is Clemson spineless okra. You can see from the mottling on the leaves, it fought some type of virus early on. It's got bug damage. It survived it. It's coming back and growing strong. Got a lot of new growth in there. I haven't got a pod yet, but I'm sure I will before fall sets in. We got about 95 days left in the growing season. And these are Clemson spineless okra too. See how mottled that leaf is? And this one here is mottled, got holes in it, brown specks. This one here is highly deformed, but the new ones, they're looking fine. So we'll be enjoying that later in the fall. So we'll take you over here now to the old compost pile, and where we're starting to put in our fall garden. Still got to plan out that old herb bed. And as we're walking here, I want you to notice these garden chives that have sprung up everywhere. That's all a result of a few plants I planted 10 years ago in that pot that sat on that corner of that bed. Just like now they seeded, and that seed spread out. Excuse me. There's some more Henderson limas. Here again, spare seeds. Threw them in the pot. In fact, I'll tell you a secret. You know, sometimes when you're down on your luck, don't got much money, you know, you'd like to buy some seeds, but you know, I gotta admit, seed prices got way on up there now. You know, average are $1.99, $2.95, $4.95, $7.95. It's just ridiculous. But you know where these Henderson lima bean seeds came from? I bought a bag of China doll limas, and I use them. Now you got to be careful what brand. You got to make sure they're produced within the United States, Because dry bean seed, lima bean seed, and such as that comes from outside the country, it tends to get irradiated before it is trucked off for sale off of our ports. Any irradiated seed is not going to sprout. And if you're just curious where your dry beans, limas come from, try sprouting some. And it may not say from China, Vietnam, but if it don't sprout, there's one thing for sure. It's not from America, folks. So be careful. As you can see, these garlic chives, they just spread out everywhere. I'm fine with that. And here we get to the old compost pile that I put in about 10 years ago. I quit putting stuff in it about 8 years ago because you couldn't make your way to it anymore with all the overgrowth. And I'd first put some potatoes in here. They were just some old sprouted potatoes. They didn't do nothing. So I decided to plant out the edges with beans. And those climbing up the poles were a couple of spare rattlesnake beans I found. You can see there's some pods on it, and I picked a few last night off of these as well. Just like I picked the rattlesnake pole beans up there on the clothesline pole. These others are Provider bush beans. The seed I got out of my survival seed pack that I bought on hand instead of spending a lot of money buying new stuff. They're looking good. And if you can see the color difference, because it's bright sun here, around on this side are some more Henderson limas. Got me a new compost pile started there. And then over here I've started to, as I clear off the shop garden, I started putting in my fall garden. It'll continue. And right here by the fence I have some mammoth sunflowers growing. You see them right there. Right there. Got a fourth planting right there. Now these right here are some dark green zucchini. Had to think about that a moment, excuse me. And around these plants, you'll see some sprouts of corn coming up. And I'll be doing a video on that later. I mean, that's your Three Sisters method, and sort of got a little disheartened from a lot of YouTube channels that said they tried it. It didn't work out for them. I mean, I've used it in the past. It's done just fine. But there's a way to go about it. And I looked it up on the internet, and to be honest, the way most people tell you, just ain't the way it ever happened. Of course, the way I was told and shown came from about a 80-year-old Cherokee Indian. He did it every year. Worked out fine for him, just like I'm sure it did the Indian tribes, because according to history, it sustained our Native American brothers for 600 plus years. So why people on YouTube can't make it happen, I don't know. But I'll do a video as the season progresses, show you just how to go about it. But right now, squash is in there. I planted golden Bataan corn around it, not at the same time. And we'll go into that in another video. Now here, these are Table Queen acorn squash. They're winter squash. I'll be growing them out, saving them for the winter. And you'll see here again, small sprouts of corn. And of course that was not planted at the same time squash. So, you might be starting to catch on to the secret if you're listening. This is a squash I've never grown. But I know these winter squash, along with some other winter squashes I have planted around the property, will definitely provide me winter squash for storage. This one here is one of those fun things to grow. And it's called a pink banana squash. Now, I do not recommend you plant fun things to grow for everything if you plan on growing to feed yourself. But it's no harm in planting a few just for grins and giggles. That's what this is all about. Now over here, and this will be hard to see, but I think they're starting to come up. Right there. Right here. This is my first sweet potato vines. And I planted 4 sweet potatoes right here along this edge. We got about 95 days of growing left, maybe more, depending on when the frost comes. Now they may not have potatoes, or they may not be too big. That's not the purpose of these. See, I've still got to clear off this mess back behind the shop. And I am going to clear it this week. But I will be training these sweet potato vines, once this area is cleared, to head on over here and start helping me shade out the sunlight so the rest of this here weeds and other invasive species doesn't get a foothold back. So I'm just trying to use the plant as a tool to help me out. I'm all by myself here. I could use a few tools. So we'll just continue on with this. Take you over to the south property line. I still gotta cut these trees down to fully get this here south garden ready. But it's gonna be a spring garden, so I got time. Let me tell you, it's about 11 in the morning, the sun's beating straight down. It'll burn a hole in you. Now here we got a small sweet baby watermelon. Got another one there. And you know, I must admit, for August 21st, it looked like much, but they weren't planted in here from transplant till about 3 weeks or so ago. Over here, this is Waltham butternut. This is one of my standby winter squashes. When I do garden, I'm going to make sure I put this in. Now why? First of all, it actually has some very good drought tolerance once it's established. Second of all, it produces well. And third of all, these things store forever if you cure them and put them in the right conditions. And if you look up under here, you know, you're going to see there's quite a few on them. I think I counted yesterday, there's probably around a dozen so far. There'll be more. And they'll store all winter, all spring, on even into the summer. And it's still going. And I would say that vine now is approaching at least a good 10 feet. Well, we'll head on up here to the little raised bed we have up on the south side of the house next to the driveway. Let's head her on up here. Well, this was the first place we planted because it's the first thing we got cleared back off. Make our way around the Mustang, the son's Harley. And what you have right here, these are two yellow crookneck squash. I got these. They were plant starts from Bonnie. There's only two of them. They've been producing all this time. They're still looking pretty good. Now they got roughed up a little bit in that storm yesterday, but getting more squash than we can use. And this whole bed was planted first week of June. Now what we have here is green fingers okra. And we've been picking a few. Haven't got a lot off of it. It's a nice looking plant. Now something I want to show you here. And we got these plants. There's actually 3 cucumber plants in here in a group. And they were from Bonnie. And they're supposed to be a burpless bush hybrid. And there's 3 right there. Let me back up here a ways. That's how you take a look at these bush cucumbers. And they just keep going. And they keep going. And going. And they're about to go over the roof. So I don't know what kind of bush that is. Maybe it's something from back in the Jurassic age. What I figured was, maybe back during the Jurassic period when there were dinosaurs. They had to have giant cucumbers too. That has to be a mistake though. But they're climbing on up there. Still got quite a few cucumbers up in there. We've been picking them. And if you look up there, you can still see some way up there. I don't know how we'll get them. Guess we'll have to get out the extension ladder. And this is a celebrity tomato. It's about 6 feet tall now. And it's got quite a few tomatoes on up in there. Last count I counted about 15. And here you can see that another squash vine just running all along underneath these tomatoes. And what we have here is a small patio variety tomato. I would not normally have grown this, but I started the garden so late. It was all I had left. I had 2 of these and that one celebrity. Well, I bought them, stuck them in the ground. I've already picked 4 off this particular plant. They're not very big tomatoes. And you can probably see another one starting to turn right there. This one here is also a patio. Got quite a few tomatoes on it. Sort of scraggly looking. And then down on this end of the bed is some Clemson spineless okra. It's just starting to bloom. There's 3 plants there. And that green fingers down there was another 3 plants. Right here we have a Waltham butternut running up under the blueberries here in the front bed. And these are high bush, southern high bush variety of blueberries. I've got some bright well and powder blue in here. There's another Waltham butternut. That's the final blueberry. And it also has a Waltham butternut over here left side. So, that's all of our plantings. Like I said, it's not a lot, but it's enough to give me something fresh to eat between the squash and cucumbers. I've been eating them every which way I can figure out to. And you can see here, these are far from over. And there's some more right on in here. They've been in here since first week of June. But they're still looking pretty good. I'll let them continue on. I got a fridge full of cucumbers now. Been eating them every which way, I don't think. So, that's about it for now. August 21st. Down here in deep South Bama. So, until next time, we'll see y'all. Take care. Stay safe out there. God bless you and yours. Bye.